Really? We all know you out there? Myself? Really? I can't really jump.
Alright, so start off with, so anybody think of what these three items might have in common? Anything? Can't answer. Yeah, I can see that. No, that's not it. Anybody else got an idea? Here's what it is. Made. All of them are made from oil, petroleum products. Like, all those products that were listed there have some kind of petrochemical in it. And that's just abbreviated list. There's thousands upon thousands of things every day. Household items that are made partially by oil, lots of them. So, a little bit about me. 7 years I worked offshore on a oil rig. I started working forward, roughing it, working my way up the driller. I drilled for 2 years. So I have a lot of practical knowledge when it comes to drilling wells offshore, how you started. Spudding in, which is the beginning section of it, installing, running DOPs, blowout container. Last part, which drilling the TD, towing them. That's what I'm going to talk to you about. All the things we use reliable today, which is unreliable, a lot of it starts right here. And what I'm going to talk about specifically is deep water, offshore, not land rigs, deep water. First, like I said, first phase of the well project is the spudding. Spudding is where the drilling sites are determined, and you have a ROV, which is a remote operated vehicle. It's just a submarine that's got control of the rig. And that goes down, and it sets GPS transponders on the seafloor. There'll be 4 of them. And when they set that, that's able to communicate with the rig's GPS. That's able to communicate with the rig's GPS. And that way, the rig can sync up with that, and it knows how to stay right over top of the wheel for the whole well project. Here's the spudding end. You run 36-inch casing, and you run 28-inch casing, about 15 to 2,000 foot below the seafloor, and you cement that in place. Once you've done that, then you've provided a foundation where you can run the blowout preventer, and it has a stable foundation, so it will not move. The BOP by itself is on deck before you run it on the rig. The last rig I was on, it was 20,000 pounds of weight from being 1 million pounds heavy in the air. So it's critical that when you spud in, you get the surface casing cemented properly. It's on top of the surface casing, this is the wellhead. This is what the BOP sits on top of it. This is where it latches into it right here. This is just one that's in the shop that they're running tools through it just to make sure everything's up to spec. Same thing we do when we run our parts and everything, making sure everything's up to spec before they send it to the rig. This is what it looks like when you're running right. This is the riser. This is the conduit from the BOP to the rig. This is the blowout preventer for matching up DOPs. This is what it looks like real. This is the actual photograph of it. This is the bottom of the BOP is shaped like a nail guide bottom. That way, make it easier to dab onto. Keep in mind, this right here, when you drill in deep water, it can be anywhere from 4,000 feet of water up to over 9,000 feet of water. So when you're talking about like a mile, almost up to 2 miles of water before you even start drilling. I mean, it takes a lot to get into it. So once the BOP is matched up, the next thing we got to do is do our BOP test. BOP has 7 to 8 rams on it. We have rams that close around different size pipe that you run in there. So you have to test it on each different size that you're going to run. That way you know if you do have a blowout, you can shut the ram around whatever tubular is across the hole, and you know that it's going to seal. Another test that you have to do is this ROV. He's still down there. He's got his own little control panel down there. For some reason, it's called a dead man test. We lose all power on the rig, electricity, hydraulics, everything. This guy mechanical stuff be down there, and he can operate those functions of the stack as a backup to a backup. That's how serious it is up there. Nobody messes around when it comes to this is essentially what it looks like once you're latched up. I mean, this is the well, surface case and everything you ran. This is latched up. That's what it looks like. Like I said, 9,000 foot up. Nothing to do with it. Now we got the BOP installed, tested, ready to drill ahead. This casing that we ran earlier, we able to set the BOP on. Now you got to drill through all that cement in the casing. You drill through that. You drill about 15 foot of new formation. That's the one. Close the ram on your stack, and you apply pressure to that formation down here. You see, looking at your pressure chart, you see where that pressure starts to fall off. Wherever it falls off, that is called your leak off pressure. When you determine that, that's when you know how you can set up your drilling program for that next drilling season. So just to show you what it looks like, here you do a leak off test, it comes up straight. So the formation's still holding, there's no problem there. You can see where it starts to deviate off that straight line. That's when formation is starting to take that fluid. So, like I said, you make your drilling program off of what this tells you. You drill till the next point of interest. You run casing again with cement in place. Do it one more time until you get to the deepest well I've ever been on was 33,000 feet. So, I mean, that's over 6 miles just high. It's a lot. This is the best thing I can find. This is essentially casing. You drill through casing and cement. So once you get past here, you drill 10, 15 foot, do a leak off. We have to do a leak off according to the code of federal regulations. It requires us to do that. Another thing, once you drill the TD, just because you drilled TD doesn't mean you got a well. Because there's been a lot of wells that have drilled to 30,000 feet and there's nothing there. So what they do is they get down to that point and they run surveys and they get real-time data back up. Geologists look at it and they figure out, well, are we going to complete it or are we going to abandon it? If you end up having to abandon it, you put 2 500-foot cement plugs in the well and you put another mechanical plug in there, another cement plug, and then you can abandon the well. If you complete it, then you'll run all this stuff. It's gravel packs. All it does is filter out all the sand, rocks, and everything before the oil comes all the way up the surface. That's all the basic steps with it. So next time y'all use some aspirin, y'all just think it didn't just come from Dollar Tree.